We all know that feeling of discontentment. We want more from life, from our careers, from our relationships, and we're willing to do whatever it takes to get it. But if we aren't careful, greed can overtake us. It can blind us to the beauty around us and drive us to extreme measures to fulfill our desires. Today we bring you a tale of a dog named Bruno and his never-ending quest for more. This is the story of the dog who had everything but wanted more. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between rolling hills and a sparkling lake, there lived a dog named Bruno. Bruno was no ordinary dog. He was incredibly intelligent, brave, and independent. Bruno could read human emotions like a book and use this ability to get what he wanted. He had a knack for sniffing out delicious food and could outrun any other dog in the village. To the villagers, Bruno was a local celebrity. They admired his intelligence and often rewarded him with treats and affection. Bruno had everything a dog could ask for: food, shelter, love, and respect. But Bruno wasn't content. He always wanted more. One day while strolling through the bustling marketplace, Bruno noticed a woman holding a tray of freshly baked bread. The aroma was heavenly and Bruno couldn't resist. With his usual charm, he sat politely at her feet and looked up with his soulful eyes. The woman couldn't say no to those eyes. She broke off a piece of bread and gave it to Bruno. It was the most delicious piece of bread Bruno had ever tasted. Greed began to stir within him. He wanted more than just a piece of bread. He wanted all of it. Bruno waited patiently until the woman left. Then he hopped onto the tray and gulped down every piece of bread. He didn't stop even when his belly was full. He kept eating until every crumb was gone. Word got around the village about Bruno's actions. The villagers were shocked and saddened by his behavior. They couldn't understand why Bruno would do such a thing when he had everything he needed. Bruno's reputation was tarnished and people stopped giving him treats. Bruno was heartbroken. He missed the love and affection of the villagers. He also missed the delicious food they shared with him, but his greed had driven them all away. Determined to win them back, Bruno decided to change his ways. He started by returning the woman's empty tray. He then went to the houses of the villagers he had wronged and apologized. Some villagers were skeptical, but Bruno's sincerity was evident in his eyes. Slowly but surely, they forgave him and welcomed him back into their lives. Bruno was overjoyed. He realized that his greed had almost cost him everything. He was grateful for the second chance the villagers were giving him. Bruno's transformation didn't go unnoticed. A wise old dog from a neighboring village heard about Bruno's story and approached him one day. "I heard about what happened here," the old dog said. "You made a terrible mistake, but it seems you have learned from it." Bruno nodded, ashamed. "I don't know what came over me," he confessed. "I had everything I needed, yet I wasn't grateful. Instead, I let greed take over and it almost destroyed me." The old dog nodded understandingly. "Greed is a dangerous thing," he said. "It can make us blind to the blessings we already have, but it's good to see that you have realized your mistake and are trying to make amends." The old dog shared with Bruno a story from his own life about the dangers of greed. Once upon a time, there was a wealthy man who had everything he could ever want. He had a beautiful house, a loving family, and a successful business. But the man wasn't satisfied. He wanted more. He began to neglect his family and his business, spending all his time and energy trying to acquire more wealth. One day, the man's son, who had always loved fishing, asked his father for a new rod. The father, too busy making deals over the phone, snapped at his son and told him to wait until he returned from his trip. When the father came back from his trip, he found that his son had taken his own life. Overwhelmed with guilt and grief, the man realized that his greed had cost him his son's life. The man vowed to change his ways. He began spending more time with his family and giving back to his community. Touched by the old dog's story, Bruno felt a sense of urgency to change. He knew that he couldn't undo what he had done, but he could make sure that his greed didn't destroy anyone else's life. Bruno resolved to live the rest of his life helping others and spreading awareness about the dangers of greed. As years passed, Bruno grew old. His once sleek coat turned gray, and his playful energy became a calm wisdom. He continued to help the villagers, offering his support and guidance whenever needed. He also started a small school where he taught young dogs about the importance of gratitude and the dangers of greed. Bruno became known throughout the land as a wise and compassionate dog. People from neighboring villages would come to him for advice on how to deal with greed and dissatisfaction. One day, a young dog approached Bruno. "I'm so frustrated," the young dog exclaimed. "I work hard every day to earn my food, but it's never enough. I always want more." Bruno listened patiently, and when the young dog was finished, he said, "My boy, I understand exactly how you feel. I used to be just like you, but I can tell you from experience that chasing more will only lead to unhappiness. You have to learn to be content with what you have." The young dog was surprised. He had heard stories about Bruno's past, and he couldn't understand how the dog who had everything still wasn't content. But as he looked into Bruno's wise old eyes, he knew that Bruno was right. With Bruno's guidance, the young dog learned to appreciate the simple things in life. He started taking time to enjoy the smell of the grass, the warmth of the sun, and the taste of his food. He also learned that true happiness doesn't come from acquiring more possessions, but from being grateful for what you already have. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the village, Bruno called the young dog closer. "Remember, my boy," he said, "greed is a dangerous thing. It can make us forget the blessings we already have, but gratitude is the key to a happy life. When we learn to appreciate what we have, we can find true contentment." The young dog nodded, his heart filled with gratitude. He understood that Bruno had not only saved him from a life of greed, but had also shown him the path to true happiness. From that day on, the young dog lived his life with purpose and gratitude. He helped others understand the importance of contentment and the dangers of greed. And wherever he went, he shared Bruno's story, ensuring that future generations would never forget the lessons he had learned. And that's all for today, dear friends. We hope you enjoyed the story of the dog who had everything but wanted more. Remember, true wealth comes not from what we have, but from how grateful we are for what we do. Until next time, may your days be filled with contentment and gratitude.